Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, February 24th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
It's a family vacation for Randy, Dawn, and their children, heading south to Cancun, Mexico, unfazed by the situation unfolding on the country's west coast.
Well, with everything, there's a risk, right? So we feel pretty safe going there.
The government of Canada has essentially put all of Mexico under a heightened travel alert, from yellow, advising Canadians to exercise a high degree of caution, to orange, advising to avoid non-essential travel.
I highly recommend don't go to Mexico. I highly recommended that before this happened, and just focus on getting home.
WestJet, Air Canada, and Porter Airlines have all suspended service to Puerto Vallarta, where the violence is currently concentrated on Mexico's Pacific coast, but still servicing sunny destinations, including Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum, roughly 2,400 kilometers away.
There was some fires in Tulum, but everything seems safe, and a lot of the people on the site seem to say it's okay. But a little bit of apprehension knowing that there's some serious political stuff going on, but looking forward to a vacation that's long overdue.
For Canadians now stranded in Puerto Vallarta, there are questions about their medical insurance lapsing, while those who have paid for an upcoming trip, for example, during March break, should check their travel insurance.
If you didn't buy it, and you're surely not going to buy it now, it's no longer on the table. Bottom line is, once it's called a travel advisor, it's now a known cause. So really, there's a lot of people that are going to be out large sums of money based on this.
Adding that deciding to travel anywhere in Mexico right now is a very personal decision. And for those making that personal decision, if you are deciding to travel to Mexico, the big advice here is to register with Global Affairs Canada. That way they have your information so that if the situation does deteriorate, they're able to get in touch with you more seamlessly. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladhani. Nathan, back to you.
There was banging, there was explosions, and there was gunfire.
A calm Sunday morning in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, quickly turned into chaos. One Londoner recalls the moment he realized something had gone terribly wrong.
The sky above was black at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I looked to my left, and there were two cars on fire in the intersection.
Dennis McKeag says he has spent his winters in Mexico for many years, but never experienced anything quite like this.
People started running. So when people start running, I start running. And there's two guys on a motorcycle waving a gun and shooting.
McKeag says his apartment is located just a couple minutes down the road from where many of the explosions took place.
That's where the explosions were. And the last car that they exploded, I could feel the heat on my balcony.
While shaken up, McKeag says he doesn't plan to return home to London anytime soon.
Enjoying my time down here with caution.
And just 20 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta, residents in Mezcales are trying to remain positive.
Sometimes you have to change your mindset. And here we are in the pool laughing, and meanwhile, outside that gate, it was complete and utter chaos.
One woman from Chatham, Kent says, while surprised, nothing will change the way she feels about the place she calls her second home.
I love these people. I love these people, and they absolutely love Canadians.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
It has now come to light. The Tumbler Ridge shooter's online activity raised red flags prior to the mass shooting that left 9 dead, including the shooter, 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootseller.
It looks like OpenAI had the opportunity to prevent this tragedy, to prevent this horrific loss of life, to prevent there from being dead children in British Columbia. I'm angry about that.
The Wall Street Journal first reported that OpenAI banned Van Rootseller from its ChatGPT platform last June because of troubling posts featuring scenarios about gun violence. The American company did not share its concerns with law enforcement. Evan Solomon, Canada's AI minister, has now summoned OpenAI representatives to Ottawa to answer questions.
I want to know the details about their escalation thresholds. I want them to give us details of what their protocols are, what they are specifically in Canada, because Canadians demand safety.
According to BC Premier David Eby, the company has since shared all relevant records with the RCMP for use in its investigation.
This information will come forward to British Columbians, whether it's through a coroner's inquest or a public inquiry. We will ensure that the public knows what happened, what decisions were made, and why.
Solomon has not said whether the federal government intends to regulate chatbots such as ChatGPT.
For the federal government, we provide strong encouragement that they establish a threshold, a national threshold for reporting by AI companies when individuals are plotting violence.
Senior members of OpenAI's safety team are expected to meet with federal officials in Ottawa on Tuesday. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
It was around 2 in the morning when Denis Bondu noticed the flames starting at the bottom of the church. It didn't take long to reach the bell towers.
Ça a pris une demi-heure, là, puis tout flambait.
Half an hour and everything was engulfed, he says. But then the flames started to spread to the building next door, a senior's home.
Il y a une vingtaine de policiers minimum qui sont arrivés en courant.
20 police officers rushed towards the senior's home to evacuate roughly 75 people, he says. Many of the seniors struggled to get onto the Red Cross's bus waiting outside. The fire department says about 150 people were forced from their home, but only half of them will be able to return. That's because the senior's home next to the church has suffered some heavy damages. It will be hard for them to return home because the building was heavily damaged. CTV News was not able to reach the administrators of the residence. Many more in the surrounding area were also forced to leave home. Govinda Mohini was one of them.
I went on my balcony and the police told me to evacuate.
This afternoon, a second tragedy emerged. It turns out a local community group was using the church's basement to organize weekly food baskets for the community.
Chaque vendredi, nous arrivons à distribuer la nourriture à 150.
Every Friday, we used to distribute food baskets to roughly 150 families from Villemort and Côte-Saint-Paul, he says.
C'est une perte totale pour la communauté.
It's a big loss for the community, he says. I don't know what we'll do. For others, it's the pain of losing a century-old church that stood at the center of the community.
It was in a bad state of disrepair, this church, so I'm not sure that it was used a lot, but it always hurts a community when they lose, services like that. And
the fire department says no one was injured and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
I did not see it coming.
That's how Charleswood resident Brent LaRose described his violent encounter on board a Winnipeg transit bus Saturday morning. Just before noon, LaRose was sitting by himself on a nearly empty bus on his way to Unicity. He says that's when a man walked up to him and suddenly punched him in the stomach twice.
The way he hit me, if he'd had a knife in his hand, I wouldn't be having this discussion. He'd have killed me because it was right in the center of the chest and it was that fast.
He quickly told the bus driver, who pulled over to this bus loop here in this large retail complex. He says they watched the man enter a store in the 3600 block of Portage Avenue. The Winnipeg Police Service says the violence didn't stop there.
This individual, who's 27 years of age, chose to select a aluminum baseball bat and strike this 5-year-old twice, both at the head, once when he was standing and when he had later fallen to the ground.
I was sorry that they hadn't got to me sooner and maybe gone and found the guy before he'd attacked the child.
Minutes later, police allege the suspect made his way to a collision repair center in the 3500 block of Portage Avenue, where he stole a customer's keys shortly before being arrested. It's not the first time a serious incident has occurred at this bus loop. In November 2024, a WPS officer was stabbed in the throat by a man who was then shot by officers.
I'm concerned about that now because it can happen anywhere.
Inspector Waddell says the pilot program introduced by police in September of 2025 has put duty officers on board city buses, making a difference. But he says there's a limit to what they can do given the manpower they have available.
If we have more officer presence on there, we're going to be able to deter that from happening and just make the general ridership feel more safe as they're getting between their destinations.
Now, we can tell you the 5-year-old was transported to hospital in stable condition and treated for his injuries. There's no word yet on whether they have been released from hospital. Winnipeg police say the 27-year-old suspect has been charged with aggravated assault, and theft under $5,000. He was detained in custody. None of the charges have been proven in court.
What is the transit union saying about all of this, Joseph?
Marilee, they had a lengthy response. In a statement, of course, to CTV News Winnipeg, the vice president says this attack, especially the violence inflicted on a passenger, is a sobering reminder that our operators are facing dangerous and unpredictable situations every day, and it is past time for more action to take transit safer for everyone.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph.
A regular Canadian, he doesn't get to write $1 million check to protect their business.
But people on both sides of the border feel that's what happened when Matthew Maroon, the billionaire owner of the Ambassador Bridge, donated $1 million to a pro-Trump campaign account less than a month before the U.S. president threatened the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge.
I mean, it just confirms what we knew all along, that this had to do with who funds the president as opposed to any significant or meaningful issue regarding the bridge.
It's fully built. It's fully connected. Any delay now, I would look at purely as a billionaire play to try and stall, and thwart the Gordie Howe's success.
It feels like if you have the money, you get ahead of the line and you get to determine the outcomes that are in your favor.
According to a monthly campaign finance statement, the 7-figure contribution was made to MAGA Inc. on January 16th. Now, MAGA Inc. is a super political action committee, or PAC, supporting President Trump and his current political endeavors.
It's a way to placate your donor who thinks that they're going to get something out of it when the courts didn't work. Nothing else worked so far. It makes no sense any way you look at it, except for the fact that there's such an overt money trail going on right now.
It paints the picture of corruption in American politics.
Shanna Ports is senior legal counsel with Campaign Legal Center, or CLC, in Washington. The organization is a political watchdog focused on government ethics and election law. According to CLC, there is an overt trail of brazen trade-offs.
We see so much corruption happening in the open, but there's also money being exchanged behind closed doors, and it's impossible to even track what sort of favors come out of that.
Ports says the system needs reform because the influence of super PACs is not being enforced properly.
It creates more and more loopholes for super PACs to cozy up even tighter to candidates and to make contributions to super PACs from these large donors even more valuable, which I think is why we're seeing so many of these exchanges.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Despite frigid temperatures Saturday, hundreds took to the legislature steps to protest what they call a government pushing Alberta's separation forward.
Smith talks about a sovereign Alberta within a Canada, but, she's waffling.
We want our lives to stay the way they are. Our kids and our grandkids. Yeah. We're solid Canadian citizens.
On Thursday, Premier Danielle Smith announced a list of questions her government will put to Albertans in a referendum on October 19th. She says it's possible more could be added to the list, referencing the citizen referendum questions about Alberta staying or leaving Canada, as well as coal mining in the Rocky Mountains.
Nobody's congratulating her for, giving Albertans this wonderful opportunity to speak to all of these issues. People are angry on both sides of the issue.
Stay Free Alberta is the group advocating for the province to separate from Canada. They say Smith is attempting to distract and diminish the group's work. They see their proposal as too important to be just one of a list.
Our question has to be a standalone question. You can't muddy our question up with 9 questions.
One of their canvassing locations isn't in Canada. An event for Albertans vacationing in Arizona was held in the Grand Canyon State Saturday. Elections Alberta confirms this is allowed as long as it's Canadians who are both canvassing and signing.
It shows that our canvassers are creative. They're having fun with this.
That's what freedom's all about. Go ahead, but it's absolutely ludicrous.
I just wish that there'd be more emphasis on the Forever Canada petition.
The Forever Canadian petition, which was certified by Elections Alberta last year, wants the province to stay in Canada. Danielle Smith confirming the future of that petition question on her radio show Saturday.
We have to put that to a bipartisan committee, which we will do when we return next week.
She says a committee will be gathered to determine whether it will be put to a vote in the legislature added to the October referendum list. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Monday, the Premier and her health minister announced Alberta will be spending $7.7 billion in the coming year to pay, recruit, and train doctors.
That's a $1.4 billion increase, or a 22% increase over last year.
Doctors say the problem runs deeper than just money.
Frontline staff, frankly, in Alberta are not engaged and involved in the very system that they are experts in running. It doesn't address those issues of demoralized staff and patient flow issues.
Albertans are suffering from...
The Premier admits there's still more work to do, especially in figuring out which kind of doctors the province needs to attract.
Part of that is going to be looking at where we are relative to the number of specialists in other large provinces, and whether there are some that we need to do more attraction for and others where we're doing just fine.
The province says there are over 13,000 physicians registered in Alberta, claiming a 34% increase over the past decade. But that number includes physicians who are working part-time and some who have retired.
How many are working in Alberta? Registrations only tell one piece of the story. How many are working? What kind of physician are they? Where are they working?
Calgarians we spoke to aren't sure the extra money will turn into extra doctors.
Money's a good start, but I think the province, under the current government, hasn't put a welcome mat out for the medical profession in general.
Money helps, but living environment, social programs, structures, openness needs to exist as well.
Opposition leader Naheed Nenshi is blunt. He doesn't buy the province's numbers, and he doesn't buy their plan.
I have zero confidence that they will be able to fix the situation when people don't want to work in the Alberta healthcare system because it's in such chaos.
Kevin joins us now. Kevin, this will all be part of the upcoming budget.
Tara, it will. And the Premier's made no bones about saying this is going to be a tough budget with a big deficit. So how this big increase in spending, $1.7 billion more in spending, will fit into that remains to be seen. And what remains to be seen whether it means there'll be cutbacks in other areas. We'll find that out on Thursday when the province releases its budget.
Okay, Kevin, thank you.
Nova Scotia's fiscal plan was revealed today. The budget includes record spending but delivers another deficit. $1.19 billion is the projected shortfall. The finance minister says as revenues slow, spending needs to be reined in.
Came into government in 2021. We were facing many years of deferred maintenance in healthcare, in infrastructure, in schools, in services.
The budget includes $18.9 billion in spending and a projected $17.3 billion in revenues, but there's also hundreds of job cuts to the civil service. A 5% reduction means the loss of 443 full-time equivalent jobs on top of the 162 already, while a 3% cut to the public service results in 423 fewer jobs at government agencies like Crown corporations. While $130 million will be slashed in grants for social programming, the finance minister said the move to right-size government will continue over the next 4 years after the pandemic saw government workforce balloon.
We had seen a significant increase in staffing during COVID, and realizing that COVID's over, we need to look at how we best function.
The province has introduced several new tax measures to increase revenue, including a 2% increase or 6% tax on financial organizations. That's expected to bring in nearly $38 million annually. Nova Scotia will also introduce an electric vehicle tax, $500 every 2 years and $250 for hybrids. That'll generate about $3.5 million annually. And a new vaping tax model that will bring in $11.7 million more this year. Opposition were quick to criticize the budget cuts to programming dollars.
We see massive cuts and no explanation of where we will get back to balance. We don't see a province that's preparing itself for the real economic opportunities in front of it.
I would have held our departments to the budget that they were given. There was decisions made to give up revenue in terms of the bridge. There was a number of decisions made, and now guess who's paying for those bridge tolls? It's people that are losing their job.
Government agencies who lost funding were not identified at the budget release. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
You imagine, right, that train comes through here, right, between us and our forest, we wouldn't be able to access our forest anymore.
Michael McGilvray is worried a proposed high-speed rail line could come this close to his home and farm and affect his business.
We make maple syrup. That means we would probably have to give up that business, right? So that's the impact that this could have. It could literally destroy our one portion of our business.
Kirkview Farms sits just south of Van Cleek Hill in Prescott Russell. For decades, the McGilvray family has operated the farm. But if high-speed rail comes to the area, it could bring trains moving up to 300 kilometers per hour through the area multiple times a day.
There's a lot of angst, there's a lot of concern in the community, and there's an uncertainty. The other thing is that there's a lot of people still in the community that don't know about this.
The proposed route would connect Toronto to Quebec City and move through Prescott Russell between Ottawa and Montreal, sparking concerns from farmers that their land could be appropriated. The community coming together Monday to voice their concerns.
These are just a sampling of business people who are concerned about this thing. We could have easily had 200 or 300 here.
In a statement, Alto says no route has been selected and that wherever possible, it will follow existing transportation corridors, adding if it needs to acquire land, our strong preference is to prioritize negotiated willing buyer, willing seller agreements. Still, residents and business owners worry about the uncertainty and what the line could mean for local roads, properties, and quality of life.
Today we're facing disruption of our businesses. We don't know how to plan or how we can pay our mortgages going forward because we're under a cloud.
Alto is holding public consultations on the rail line, both online and in person. A schedule is up on Alto's website. Stefan.
CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Kimberly.
During the latest Waterloo Regional Police Services Board meeting, human trafficking was identified as an area that needs more attention.
From a national standpoint, the statistics are very troubling. The most common age of girls being trafficked in Canada is 13 years. And the annual profit is over $280,000 per female trafficked in Canada.
When you zero in on Waterloo Region, the latest figures are stark. Numbers have not been registered yet for 2025, but they are for 2024.
Over the past 3 years, we see an increasing gap between the charges laid and the calls for service indicating issues related to human trafficking.
Here's a closer look at the widening gap. There are just under 2 reported cases of human trafficking per 100,000 people across the province. Nationally, that number actually dips to just over 1.2 cases per 100,000 people. In Waterloo Region, the number climbs to just under 3.5 reports of human trafficking cases per 100,000. That's 70% higher than the provincial average and 178% higher in Waterloo Region than the national average.
We know through our highway corridor, as a large municipality within Canada, this is a focal point of opportunity for human trafficking to take hold and to occur.
Victim Services of Waterloo Region has seen the recent jump in reported cases firsthand.
It is deeply concerning, but then on the other hand, I'm also not completely shocked by the numbers. In the last year, we've supported over 140 survivors of human trafficking, some as young as 12.
But part of what may be leading to higher reported cases is increased awareness, including new campaigns which Waterloo Regional Crime Stoppers is working on.
We shouldn't even have to be seeing those sorts of numbers. I think, to your point, we're seeing higher increases because more people are becoming aware of it and are reaching out to us.
And the police service is also part of the Not in My City campaign, which provides specialized training for officers and the public about how to put an end to human trafficking. Tony.
Spencer Turcotte live outside WRPS headquarters. Spencer, thank you.